Welcome everyone to this webinar. Today we're going to talk about machine learning, about data analytics, and I welcome all of you to the webinar. Before we kick off, we want to do a quick round of introductions. Right? So what we want all of us to do is chat with everybody and let them know your name. So in my case, it's Amit, and where you're based out of. So it's actually Bangalore for me. And what you're doing right now in life. So I'm actually the CEO of equiskill.com. There you go. Please shoot out your introductions to everybody and say hello. It's a great opportunity to network. And thank you, Rajesh Arumugam, for sharing your name. We'd love to know if you're working somewhere. So, okay, great. You're in Oracle, and please do feel free to also share, your location. I've muted everybody just to keep the audio good for the time being. Okay, so let's see. We've got Rajesh from Oracle. We've got Vivek Arya from Delhi. He's a data analyst. Tilak from Bangalore, an analyst at Traction. Rajesh is actually based out of Bangalore. We've got Rohit from Philips, Navneet Deshpande, who's a developer, and Ram, who's a freelancer in Bangalore. We've got Avinash Hirimat. Hi, Avinash. We'd love to know a little bit more about you. Are you a student? Are you working? What location are you based out of? And we've got Prasanna from Bangalore, software developer at Tech Mahindra, and Sarang, IIT BHU, final year. Excellent, Sarang. Join Analytics, it's the future. Avinash is at WNS Bangalore. Okay. Right, and we've got Tinu, we've got Animesh from Accenture, DWBI. Tinu is from Bosch. I'm assuming that's Bosch Kormangla, Tinu. We have a gentleman on a Galaxy J7 with your video enabled. I hope it's okay if I actually disable your video. So that'll make it easy for everyone else. Okay. And we've got Shriram from Bangalore. Great. So folks, that's good enough. Let's kick off as the introductions flow in, right? And we've got Abhishek from IQVIA. Abhishek, please write to everybody. I think what you're doing is a private chat right now, so you can write to everyone. We've got Pradeep from Hyderabad and Sarath from SAP Bangalore. That's great. And Pradeep, I actually trained at SAP. Pradeep from IBM, Money. Well, it's great to see all your introductions flowing in. And we will also see if we can create a group where we can, add all of you. It's a data science enthusiast community. And then, we can be connected going forward. And Animesh says he's really pleased to see you all. And same here, Animesh. All right. Folks, welcome to the webinar. A little bit about equiskill.com very quickly for all of you is that we started in the year 2015 as an analytics learning platform. And the founders are basically people who have experience in Fortune 100 companies. The courses here are by real analytics professionals as opposed to trainers. These are people who have decades of experience in corporates that we'll talk about in a short while. We typically maintain a small class size of 30 to 35 people, not more than that, so that we can sort of connect with everybody and have, a relationship with all of you. And thanks, Abhishek, for writing to all in the chat box. Our vision is very simple. We want to be able to help learners draw insight from data and be self-aware to better the state of their organization, themselves or their country on the basis of those insights that they can get from data. We know, however, that the only way you learn is if you actually do and you practice, right? And those are the values, really about practicing everything that you learn. And we have a methodology called click and follow workshops. You'll see a little bit of that today, where you get to see what we're practicing and practice along with us. And some of you have Tableau installed, you can refer to the video and practice. We've trained hundreds of professionals across corporates in the world, and you can see some of them here, but really there's too many to fit into a slide. And we're also the adjunct faculty for analytics, and I'm the adjunct faculty for analytics at Symbiosis International University for analytics and the Nasimonji Analytics course. I also do data science lectures at Goa Institute of Management. So if you end up in an MBA program there, you're going to learn from me anyway. Okay, just kidding there. Now, before we get to us, I just wanted to share that we have a little bit of a social media presence. So you'll find us on Quora.com. And when you go to Quora.com, and I'll just share this in the chat box, I actually blog a lot on analytics on Quora, and I've shared the link with all of you here. And if you look at the analytics writers globally, the most viewed writers, you'll find us somewhere in the top 4 on Quora.com. And that's me over there. So thanks a lot. I know some of you are actually following me on Quora, so thanks a lot for following us on Quora. And I've shared the link to these rankings here as well. Now, if you haven't had a chance to look at the website is here. It's equiscale.com. And on the website, you will see a lot of courses, including this webinar. Some of you may have registered here, but we specialize in data science using R, and that's a really, really good course. And we also have a course on machine learning using Python. It's a little advanced, but it's also a very, very good course, right? There's the Analytics Accelerator certification, which probably is the best course because it combines R, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, all of those things. So a lot of the people join this course. A lot of the people join this course here, machine learning using Python, if they're totally focused on Python. And there are some people who, would like to just learn R and Tableau. They're not necessarily interested in Power BI, so they join this particular course over here. So that's just a little bit about our website. There's some statistics there, and we have a lot of interesting webinars that keep coming. So if you're interested, you should just subscribe here, and you'll keep getting a lot of information about our free webinars on a variety of topics. And I'll add that here. Just a second. There you go. So that's the link to the website there. And let's get going. So a little bit about me. I am the ex-vice president for analytics at Citibank, global analytics and insight. I've worked with the G IoT teams, and I've also worked very closely with the Amazon fraud analytics team. Before that, I was in IT services at Computer Sciences Corporation, but I was also in manufacturing once upon a long time ago. Before I started equiscale.com around 2.5 years ago. And for the last 2.5 years, it's been a fantastic journey. We train people and certify people globally on analytics in the US, Middle East, and Singapore and Dubai as well. Some folks from Australia as well. And I'm a computer engineer and an MBA in IT and HR. So that's my specializations, and that's what I've been up to. And now I'll sort of hand it over to Sneha, who will just walk through her profile briefly before we get to talk about a lot of exciting stuff on analytics, right? So Sneha, I have you unmuted now. Over to you.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Sneha. I'm currently working with Deloitte as a part of the Advanced Analytics Enablement team. Prior to that, I was part of the COE team, which is a Center of Excellence team for Capgemini, mainly working. So my most of the experience was working in the labs where the main focus was with the innovations and all the new technologies and how we take the technologies to the clients. Also, I'm a passionate learner. I believe in learning, and of course being my entire career into get new tools. I'm a very much believer in innovation, and hope to see you all very soon. Thank you, Amat.
Right, folks. So thanks a lot, Sneha. And why are we here today? We're here because of the amount of data that's getting generated globally, right? And it's really, really, really phenomenal. Right? If you just look at it here, we're talking about 277,000 tweets, okay? In how much time? Can anyone guess? In how much time? In the chat box, folks. Good guesses, bad guesses, they're all welcome, huh? Okay, Animesh, you're absolutely right. Now, all of you, one thing, right? We make these webinars really, really interactive, okay? So don't be shy. I like wrong answers, okay? So Navneet says 5 minutes. I want to thank Navneet. His answer is wrong, but it's very close to the correct answer. So Navneet, thanks a lot. Sarang and Animesh, yes, you guys are right. Tilak Sundar says less than a minute. Not exactly Tilak, but yes, you're right. You're pretty close, right? Okay, so all of this is happening, and some guys say 1 hour, and I want to thank all of you for your participation. It's excellent, right? See, this is happening in 1 minute, and that's the staggering statistic that I want to bring to you today. And this is the reason why you're all here. Simple, 277,000 tweets in a minute, right? We're talking about Google searches, 4 million in a minute, 2.4 million shares on Facebook. But that's not it, right? We're talking about videos. So data in many different formats, 72 hours of videos that can be analyzed, posted on YouTube every minute. And then look at the rest, right? Pandora, Amazon making almost $100,000 a minute. You know why Jeff Bezos is the richest guy in the world now. I used to work at Amazon, but you can see here what's happening on Tinder. WhatsApp, this has gone up, right? WhatsApp has now enabled WhatsApp for business. They've also enabled payments on WhatsApp, so it's becoming like WeChat in China, where you can actually do business and transact on the chat. So, all of this phenomenal data explosion is the reason why we're here today. What's happening really is that data is doubling every 2 years, okay? And you want to remember this statistic. It's really, really important in the data world. So the amount of data that you have today in the year 2018, we're sitting in February, it's going to exactly double by 2019. And nothing, has been growing consistently at 200%, on the internet other than data. I guess the only thing that's growing more than, data is a number of people who are accessing the internet. Okay. And that's sort of correlated with the data, right? Would you all agree with that? Okay. I'll wait for your responses, isn't it? Number of users on the internet and data on the internet? Yes? Okay, Karthikeyan, yes. Rajesh Arumugam says yes. Eh? Okay, got it. A lot of people are sort of agreeing with that, isn't it? So here's the thing, right? This is why data science has become one of the hottest jobs of the century. And if you look at it, no matter where you are, right? If you've got participants from other geographies as well, you got to understand that, you've got to search for the LinkedIn top skills, okay? And keep looking at that, folks, because you need to know if you have those skills or not, right? So when you look at the LinkedIn top skills for the year, 2017, okay? And you look country by country, and would you like this link? I'll just share this link with all of you so you guys can have a look. Here you go. I've shared the link. So you will see on a per country basis, you will find data analytics, statistical analysis and data mining at number 2 in the US. And then, probably when you go behind, you've got number 1 in the United Kingdom. You've got number 1 in UAE, number 1 in South Africa, and number 4 in Singapore, number 1 in Netherlands. So I think you're getting the idea, isn't it? Number 2 in the Ireland, India. It's number 4, number 5, right? So you guys are getting the ideas here. And it's not just about data analytics, right? You should also look at the other skills that you can sort of, learn, if not data analytics, right? But data analytics for sure, data science, data mining, data analytics is right there on top, isn't it? Okay. So data, folks, is the new oil and the new soil. If you believe that companies like Facebook or LinkedIn are into social or professional networking, sure, I mean, that's what's getting them the traffic, no doubt about it. But the business that they're into is actually the business of data. Data is the new oil, it is the new soil. And what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is today, every business is investing in data. So even when you look at a traditional business house like Tata, right, or Birla, are you guys aware that they're investing heavily in analytics and that they have centers of excellence in analytics right here in Bangalore? Are you aware of that? Yes or no? Even if you're not aware, please say something in the chat box so we know, you're not aware, right? So I want you to look up, Tata IQ, Tata Intelligence and Quants, and it's a huge division of people that are monetizing all of the data that Tata has of its customers across India, right? And this was not happening before, but now you guys know and you understand what I mean by the fact that data is the new oil and data is the new soil, right? And if you guys go, over here and you say Tata IQ, you'll realize that it's now a full-fledged company that the board of directors for Tata has started out, And so what I'm saying is it's not just Amazon and LinkedIn. It's also the, companies which are actually traditional companies, and they are also getting into analytics and monetizing, their data, right? Okay. Thank you so much for your comments. Now, what I want to ask you next is just to clarify in your minds, what are the different kinds of analytics that you guys have heard of till date? Please say anything you've heard of in the chat box, yeah? Different kinds of analytics. I'll give an example. Financial analytics. Okay, so now I have responses. Venkat says fraud analytics. Rajesh says log analytics, retail analytics, predictive analytics. Animesh, I think what you meant was healthcare analytics. Rohit says business analytics, e-commerce analytics. From Tilak, Venkat says risk analytics, website analytics says VT. Great. Okay. So Look, what you mentioned is great. Huh? You guys are bang on. Animesh talks about social media analytics. See, these are the applications of analytics in different domains. Okay. So what you all have shared is the way that analytics is applied in different domains, and all of you spoke of, certain domain. Now, the fundamental is that there's actually three kinds of analytics. Of course, when you apply it to a business, it's called business analytics, right? When you apply it to healthcare, it's called healthcare analytics. But the three kinds of analytics fundamentally are, and I want to thank Tilak and Rajesh, right? So, and also Lenovo. I don't know what your name is, but please, Lenovo, tell us what your name is. You're on a Lenovo device, right? See, the three kinds of analytics are descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive. I want you to just let this sink in a little bit. Okay, I'll explain what this means. Would you guys? Okay, Pooja, would you guys want to know what these three kinds of analytics mean? Just let me know in the chat box. I'll just invest 3 or 4 minutes to share this. Rohit says yes. How about the rest of you? Rajesh? Okay. Okay. Karthikeyan, yes. In brief. Okay. All right. Very briefly, it's really simple, guys. Descriptive analytics is about describing, right, what is going on in a business. So when you describe what is going on in a business, you typically describe what has already happened in the past. And that is known as hindsight, right? Isn't it? When you describe something in the past, how do you do this? You do this by using things like reports. So you query your data, you write your SQL queries or your Hive queries, and then you create reports with drill downs. Maybe when you do sales by city, sales by country, right? Or you do sales by region, isn't it? And you have certain metrics. You might have, profit before tax as a metric, right? You might have profitability as a metric, and you have alerts, right? Stuff like SMSs that get sent to you when your credit card is swiped abroad, isn't it? So, your credit card has been swiped. Okay. So all of this, whenever you describe what is going on in the past, it is called descriptive analytics, where you're talking about what happened in a business or what happened in an organization. Now, when you say what happened, suppose I say sales went down by 10% last month, and you're the head of sales, you're going to ask a very simple question after I tell you that sales went down by 10%. And the question that you're going to ask is what? Can someone complete these words for me, please? Sales went down by 10%. What's the next question you're going to ask? That's simple, right? Why did it happen, right? And Animesh, same thing, right? Animesh, why did it happen? Simple. And the answer to that might be a lot of things. It might be that, we just had the Independence Day sale on the 26th, right? And after the 26th, no one is buying anything because 26th of Jan, we had an Independence Day sale. Before that, we had the New Year sale. People have exhausted all their money. So if what is going on in a business, is descriptive analytics, why it happened, when you analyze it and you find the reason why it happened, you are now providing insight. Okay. And then you want to model this and you want to find out how it might be next month, right? How would this look like in March? Okay. And that is all simulation and modeling. You typically use predictive tools for this aspect here, predictive analytics. So you would use R, you would use Python, right? For both of these, any of these, right? R or Python. And in descriptive, well, you might actually, even use Excel, you might use Tableau, right? You might use Power BI, all of these tools, right? Okay. So once you do this, your last and final question is, okay, when you tell the business leader, what happened, which is that the sales went down, and why it happened, because, we've had a lot of sales, New Year sales, Independence Day sales, right? The next question they're going to ask you is, well, that's all fine, but can someone complete this for me? Absolutely, right? How do we proceed in the future? You guys got it, right? So this how is the most important question for business leaders, okay? And analytics will end the insight in the analytics process doesn't quite end at why it happened. The insight also, requires you to prescribe, and that's why we're using the word prescriptive analytics, where you prescribe how to proceed in the future. Now, a lot of this cannot be driven by human beings, okay? Because businesses are now e-commerce based, they're online businesses, and there's a huge amount of transactions happening on a minute by minute basis. We just saw that a short while ago, right? So Amazon's not going to have a human being figure out, how to get the sales up. It's got to be algorithms. It's got to be dynamic rule-based utilizations. And when Uber gives you discount codes, I wish they loved you, but the reality is maybe the sales isn't doing so well. So how do they come out of that situation? They give you discount codes. There's a day of the week when nobody takes Uber cabs, then maybe they give you a 10% off on that day so that you take the Uber cab, right? So these things are dynamic rules coded into the database, and it's live in production analytics. Now, this might happen using big data tools as well if the business is really big, but it need not necessarily involve big data tools. It can also be done using, Python and other production-based tools like SAS as well. But it can't happen using R for the reason that R is more for data science and machine learning, but it doesn't put things into production. Production is typically done in technologies, right? It might be even Ruby on Rails or other technologies. Okay. All right. And when you use all of this, any of this analytics for HR, any of these, it becomes HR analytics, right? When you use this for healthcare, it becomes healthcare analytics. When you use this for risk modeling, it becomes risk analytics, right? Are you guys now clear on this aspect? Please say yes in the chat box and we can move ahead. Superb. That's great. That's great. So whenever someone asks you what are the different kinds of analytics, boom, your answer should be predictive, descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive. So then what is big data analytics? It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's just about applying any of these analytics to very, very large data sets. Take, for example, a data set that is greater than 1 terabyte in size today. It is a huge data set, right? So you can't work on this necessarily on your computer with Python unless your RAM is really, really big, or you might have to look for a machine online or use big data tools to actually query and work on this data, right? And Animesh says, is this material useful? Yes. Is it available? Sorry, Animesh says, is the material available? So Animesh, anybody and everyone who stays till the end of the webinar and shares the feedback with us with your email ID and mobile numbers, we respect your privacy. All of you will get the presentation, you will get the recording for the webinar, and you will even get the data that we use in the webinar. Is that clear? All right. Thanks a lot. And if you need to leave earlier, you can even send me your email and your mobile number in a private chat box, and I'll make sure that you get it. You don't really have to wait till the end in case you have something coming up. But we're going to move really fast, so hang around. Now I'm going to hand this over, first of all, to Sneha and ask her to comment on this particular slide and then take it forward from this point onwards, right? So Sneha, I'll just unmute you. And I'll make you the host. Let me just do that. Give me a second here. Okay. Sneha is going to take it forward with Python, what you have all come here for. There you go. So Sneha, you're the host. You can project from this slide onwards. Thank you.
Okay. I hope you can see my screen. Great. Thanks, Amit. Thanks for the great introduction. Like Amit was telling, the different analytics. One point I just want to add here. So we had these analytics summit every year. That was a small story just to give you a gist of all this. So one year, 1.5 years back, when I had attended an analytics summit, we had vendors coming from IBM, Cloudera, Hortonworks, and they had presented their stalls and all the innovations which are happening completely related to Hadoop, big data, explaining the why we have to go for Cloudera or the importance of big data. It was a very overwhelming session. And then post that, last year when we had attended the analytics summit, I thought it will be a continuation of what we had attended the previous year. But to my uh, shock, that if you have seen, we couldn't actually see many stalls related to big data anymore, and it was completely related to machine learning, where IBM Watson was there, AWS was coming up, Azure was coming up, and they were all presenting their stalls that we have the capabilities to put in machine learning and everything. So i'm I'm telling you the story. This like this all this happened at such a short span when we were actually working on those technologies, and then there's such change in the movement of what people are using and how people are adapting to the new technologies. Like Amit has clearly mentioned over here, like we have descriptive analysis and predictive. But then if you've seen that right now, the competition within the companies and everybody have moved to a next level. Let's go to a prescriptive. Let's stay one step ahead before we get the problem. Why not solve it? Big data and ML, yes, it does go in hand, and we will understand how these two are interlinked with each other. And not necessarily every time machine learning comes in, big data has to come in. They can go in their own separate paths also, but that we'll understand once we start the course, and in what times we actually get in big data components to help us with all the functionalities. And sometimes we don't actually need to get in big data components, and we can actually use our AWS or Azure, and we have lots of cloud-based options to directly go ahead with it.
Quick request, if you could maximize your screen, I think people will see the fonts a little clearer.
Yeah, Bhavan. So sorry for that. So this entire course, we have designed it with Python. And previous, like I've been telling you, there's like so much change in the last few months itself. Why we are doing it in different ways. And previously, if you would see that all the data science was done using R, it had its own advantages for doing it with R, because it had good libraries, and the main advantage was having a good community base for R, and great data visualizations. But then moving forward, Python came up. Though Python was like a very old language, and suddenly it boosted up because of its simplicity and the wide usage of it. If you've seen, this is the wide usage. Like if you want to go for a GUI, you can go for Python. If you want to create a web framework, if you want to develop a game or visualization, and do the entire machine learning part, not only data science, like the rest of the places, you can actually go and you can start using Python. And the main advantage, like Amit has mentioned earlier, that we can actually get it production ready in comparison to R. So let's not debate right now why not R. Okay, is it better now, Amit?
No, actually, your voice is very, very clear. Excellent. I think the mic is of a great quality, so you can even speak a little softer. I think everyone will hear it clearly. It's very
Okay.
nice.
Yeah. So I was telling why Python, you know, it's easy to implement, and I mean, I'm sure you all must have heard this before also. But then why don't we actually just try creating a hello world program? If I'm sure most of you, whoever is attending, seeing this course or attending the webinar from laptops, just open your Google Chrome and just go to python dot org, or just search for, sorry, Python on Google, and then go to the first link. python.org, or you can directly go to python.org. I just want you to see how easy it is to start off with Python and implement a program in Python. I just hope all of you are with me and you are able to open it. Yep. And just click on the Launch Interactive Shell button here. So Python directly provides, if you have to, if you don't want to install it, and if you just want to see any small program running, you can directly come to python.org and you can actually start off coding with Python without even installing it. So right now, none of you have Python installed, nothing, but still we are going to start off with the Hello World program. So if you want to open it in the command prompt, you want to have your Python installed on your system, right, Animesh? So I'm just showing it for the people who don't have it installed, so they can directly start off with a Hello World program. Yeah, and
Yeah.
rightly said.
And I think that's great. All of you can, do that. Yeah, that's great. Thank you,
Yeah,
Sneha.
yeah. So I'm just writing a print statement, no initializations, no definitions, nothing. I'm just writing print hello world, and that's it. I have my output. End of story. I did a hello world program in like what, 1 minute, and none of you had to do anything. All of you were able to just open the console, Python console, and you were actually able to print a hello world. And how many would have possibly thought you could have done this with some other language? Sarath, if you have more command on Python, that's a great advantage for you. But the course will start with the Python basics for everyone, and it'll be a kind of a revision for you also, and to go in depth of the basics and understand what are all the basics required to continue with the data science course. Great. I'm sure all of you were able to do it. Did any of you face any issues in doing it? Just let me know. Great. So now you understood why first, at least the first most important point of why Python, they made it so easy for everybody to use it, that even a non-technical person just can get in and start off coding in Python. That is the main advantage of it. So we have seen the shell which we have was the interactive mode. So when we see that we are directly able to code, that is, this is called the interactive shell, where if you try to write any other small program, like I just want to add two numbers, I'm defining the value a is equal to 4. Okay. And now I haven't defined it as an integer, or I haven't defined it as a string, nothing. But let us see how Python understood a as to know how Python stores the value. You can just use type of the variable you have defined, and then you'll understand the class of it. That is, we know Python automatically understood as an integer. So we are not initializing anything as an integer or string. Directly we have the values over here. So it's more of what the language was already built in. The effort which we have to put it is more related to the logic, instead of worrying about the data types, or uh, the syntaxes, or the predefined functions which we need to import, and etc. So we can also perform a small operation. I'm just trying to add these two numbers, and you
Sneha,
can see
small
it.
request.
Yeah.
Small request. On the top right corner of your browser, there are three dots. If you could just zoom into the screen, we'll see, what you're typing a little more clearly, and people can follow along as well.
Oh,
Top
sure.
right corner of the browser, just zoom in a little bit.
Yep, I hope it's more clear now.
Thank you, Sneha. Please go ahead.
Yes, Amit. Okay, so now we know that okay, there are lots of libraries in Python, and we can use them. You understood? Okay, there is something good about it, and let's see if I can actually do a like here we can see that NumPy is a scientific computing library, and how hard could it be for using a library? Let's go back to our Python shell, interactive shell, and I'm just writing a command import NumPy. Now universal standard NumPy is a very common module used by everyone. So everybody tries to rename NumPy as NP. So I'm just using an as command and then just clicking import NumPy as NP. So now my import is done. Now all this scientific computing which I can use using my NumPy modules can be done right now. So that as simple as that, I imported it and I can start using it. Now let me just create a small list of values using my NumPy. My list that will be np. I'm just using a command, a range command, where I'll just start from 1 and I'll go till 10 and I'll give, you know, the break with 0.5. So I'll see how my list is being printed. If you see, I have an array with all the values. So I just used a NumPy module, which you'll come across in any computing where you have a matrix or you have numbers you convert into a matrix. This NumPy makes it at least 100 times faster. The calculations will be 100 times faster. That's the main that's the main reason why we use NumPy. Let's not get into the details of it, but I'm just want to show you over here the exact the easiness of which I was able to use NumPy module in Python within few minutes. So Python is vast
Yeah,
and
but I think it's at a very high level. Himanshu has asked what is NumPy, and Samay has answered basically NumPy is a numeric Python for working on mathematical operations. So probably if you could just summarize NumPy, see guys, you would have all heard NumPy and scikit-learn. Okay, scikit-learn libraries and NumPy. So Sneha is demonstrating some of the most important things. She has demonstrated NumPy right now. So Sneha, if you can just share at a very high level what is NumPy and what is scikit-learn, so that people who are seeing Python for the first time, it might be beneficial to them, just at a very high level, right? You can share that here.
sure, Amit. Uh, so I'll give you a small example. Okay, I can tell you what NumPy is and give you a definition. It's faster and it's like, NumPy is one of the main building blocks of Python ecosystem, etc., etc. But you must be seeing lots of images every day, and these days there are so many apps where you can actually show an image and it'll give you a recommended product for those images. Now have you ever thought how a system is actually reading an image? Okay, it could act. Okay, some people must be knowing it. Okay, there'll be a RGB configuration when the values are stored as in values of 255 comma 255 comma 255. Great. Now what is 255 comma 255 comma 255? The RGB values red, green, blue. This is, if you see from a numeric point of view, it is just a matrix, right? Once we have this matrix and we know we have an image, can we convert the entire image into a matrix? Every pixel I'll define a RGB, and then the entire image, whatever the size of it, again I'll convert into a bigger matrix. Now just imagine the size of that matrix. What could it be? So I just have a 1x3 and I have a 1000 by 1000 pixel matrix. Now just see the size of how big my matrix is. It's huge. It's very huge. Now you want to process this kind of images and you have lakhs of images. So you need something which is very fast, something which can compute it within few seconds. Now NumPy is there for you. So any calculations, mathematics, I'm just giving it as an example so that you understand what's the power of NumPy. All these operations can be done at a lightning speed using NumPy module. So that is a basic one of the uses of NumPy of all the wide variety of usages it has. I hope you'll get like the basic level idea of what NumPy is, and then we'll go ahead. There are many modules in Python which are very powerful and really useful. Okay, now what data science is? I can again start off saying data science has its usage in everything: retail, banking, marketing, social media, healthcare, everywhere. But before that, I want you guys to start pinging me where you keep seeing different data science applications in your day-to-day life. Just ping me right now without any understanding of data science. If you have, well and good. If you don't have, just think daily somewhere some data is getting collected and somebody is analyzing and giving me outputs. Facebook, great. Okay. Okay. So if you're saying Facebook, what in Facebook? Great. Google recommendation. What Google recommendation? Just one line. Like, Facebook. In Facebook, you can see many places. YouTube favorite videos. Okay. YouTube favorite videos is something you select, right? Even we have in Flipkart. Okay. What in Flipkart? Trendings. Friends you may know in Facebook, right? Excellent. Amazon market basket analysis for recommendation. Excellent. Ads. Excellent. Real-time data in Amazon. Not very sure. What do you mean by real-time data? I'm not sure. Yeah, recommender systems good, but where exactly you see that recommender systems? Card swiping in company. Great. So the card swiping in company, and after the card swiping, if they understand, okay, some different transaction happened, so they immediately call you that you are the person who did the transaction, right, for confirmation. Yes, that's a great example. It shows how many are watching this product. Okay. More than watching this product, it'll be more like if you're searching for one product and the similar product when it is recommending, that would be it. Twitter sentiment analysis, yes, one great example. Do they hike the price of aircrafts too on the basis of this? Absolutely. So data science has been there since many years. It's just that it came into the lightning because of the ease of use of big data. But then, yes, they hike the price of aircrafts. They have all the data stored and they do analysis of it, and then they understand how many people they'll be turning up and not turning up. Great example. Climate forecasting. Okay, perfect example. Weather forecasting. Flights. Cab booking. Excellent. So daily use cab booking. One great example. Reliance Jio. How exactly? Yeah, search prediction in Uber. Perfect. How does Uber? Uber has lots of algorithms in there behind, and then they actually do it. Dynamic pricing based on predicted demand. Okay. Let's keep it to daily use. Do they use it? Good question, Animesh. I think we'll have to explore that together. Weather prediction, yes, weather prediction. But how many of you use Fitbits? Hospital packages, yes. Do you think they use something in Fitbits? And the girls here, how many of you do shopping? Do they actually, You search for a nice beautiful shirt, and then below it they show all the similar shirts, similar looking, similar lens. All these you keep seeing. And of course, I mean, I'm surprised none of you talked about movies. How many of you book tickets from Book My Show? How many of you see the percentage liking of it and go for that movie? I believe all of you must be doing it. Nobody's just telling it. Do you torrents? Okay, okay? Not sure of torrents. Let's not talk about that. You know, yeah, Netflix, great. But then in Book My Show, I'm just taking this example because when you open Book My Show and if you see a movie rating to be 83%, 81%, how do you think they came up with that conclusion of 83% or 84%? Based on booking, okay? Based on booking, based on the reviews which we give. So when we say some review to be 3-star, 4-star, similar like in Amazon also we have the ratings of it. Right. So all this, they are doing some analysis on the input data which you're giving, input values which you're giving to them. They all work on simple basic algorithms. It's just that they have been imbibed in all of us so easily that we don't even actually think, okay, that particular value is coming through some other database. We just see the final value and have, use it and enjoy it. But then these are small things which we are actually using data science and so rigorously that we don't understand that those are all actually data science applications. Let it be Uber, your Fitbits, your movies, your Netflix, everything. All of them run heavy data science algorithms uh, behind them to give you the correct recommendations, to help you out in making choices, to make things easy for us, and that is at a person's level which we see the insights from it. Now if we go to organization level, that's when we see a higher level usage of it, where if you see in retail markets, understanding how the products have to be placed, that also again we do analysis. And upselling, cross-selling, fraudulent detection, if you have any wrong understand, like if you see that there's some fraud uh, transaction happened in a bank, immediately the bank have to understand. You have a, for example, a person always was doing transactions from Hyderabad, and I have a transaction happened in Hyderabad, and next after 15 minutes if some transaction happens in Delhi, it is literally not possible for a person to actually do a transaction from Hyderabad and then again do it from Delhi. So I'm just giving it an example, not necessary that the possibilities are not there. But then ideally that cannot happen if the card transaction is happening at two different places in that way. So that is a fraud. So immediately your data is there and you have to understand from the data that this is not a possible option. You have to throw an error. You have to immediately call your customer and just tell him, okay, what is this transaction done by you, and how is it even possible that you have done transaction from two different places at such less interval of time. So these are all simple examples which where data science is applicable. And from now on, if you see any new application, I think you can see from a data scientist point of view, okay, how this possibly could have happened. Now now that I have introduced the term data scientist, so some time back when I had come home and I had told my mom, they have given me the decision. Sorry, any doubts? Okay, I think it's a no. Yeah, so I was telling, I'd come back home and like, mom, they gave me a designation of data scientist. She was like, wow, scientist. I'm so happy that you finally became a scientist. I was like, I didn't understand. I thought, mom, I didn't mean that I became a scientist. I'm like, they call it as a data scientist. Then she was like, you must have become a scientist, right? You must be doing some experiments. You'll be inventing new things. Like, no, it's nothing like that. It's like we have a good understanding on the data. Uh, we try to make some models out of it. Then she was like, I am just happy with the term scientist. I'm happy. I'm going to go and tell everybody that my daughter is a scientist now. So if any of you have that kind of expectations of data scientist, I'm sure none of you have, but then that is not what data scientist is. But data science is a amazing world, at least right now, to be in a place with, because of the beauty of it. Like if you see, if you are a computer science engineer, you and if you have a good understanding of your domain business, so that's what a software development happens, like, regularly, what most of you like mentioned before, data warehousing and everything, that's what you do. Now if you have a computer science background and if you have good mathematics to you, and then you can start working with your machine learning. So I will understand what machine learning is and what data science is, but for now, try to just have a higher level understanding of these terms. Further, if we see, we have max understanding and domain. So the person is basically doing a research kind of a work. But to become a data scientist, or to actually start rendering to the problems of your clients or solving them, you have to have basic understanding of all of these. So if you think like, I keep my marks and statistics aside, and I only have computer and I have a bit of business knowledge, and I want to become a data scientist, you actually will reach to a certain extent, but you will never understand the problem of the business. So having, sorry, you will not understand the actual way you can actually get the insights out of your data, the perfect way, like, or how the numbers are moving, the necessity of knowing how your numbers are will play equally important role in creating your models. So having a knowledge, a good primary knowledge of all, is a primary requirement for data scientist. When you are actually starting off with a client task and you want to build a model for them, and you want them to actually start using it with the correct good insights and the correct insights of the model. Okay, so any doubts still here? Please let me know. Okay, one question in BI domain. So if you have any question which you want to ask in length, it's okay. We'll have a question and answer session in the last, and we can actually speak in length regarding your questions. You can just park them for now. And let's go to the next slide. My favorite of all the slides. You must be hearing the term artificial intelligence, I'm sure. And yeah, it is a part of data science, of course, but what is a artificial intelligence problem and what is a machine learning problem, and how a person or you or I differentiate between these two problems? Okay, simple. I have a cat and I have a dog. And this picture, how many of you can tell me which is a cat and which is a dog? Simple question. If you can just tell me, just tell yes. Right, of course, every one of you can tell. Now, how many of you can code the same thing? How many of you will be able to code the same thing? I'll send you a picture, and what I code the same thing in the sense, my requirement is, if I give an input as a picture, and
20
I want to
minutes.
understand the difference between a cat and a dog. How many of you will be able to code the same thing? How many of you will be able to make your system? How many of you will be able to make your system tell it by itself, okay, this is a cat and this is a dog. Anvish, it's okay. Right? Okay. So if I take another example, uh, I have something handwritten. Mm, Okay. If you have something handwritten and I just wanted to write something. Okay. So what have I written over here? Hi, simple. Wow. See, using labels, giving you. Lenovo, let's keep it to the basics for now. Identify pixel by pixel using image recognition and its edges and all. Great. Yeah, you're going in the correct way. So here, these two examples which I was telling, like, I have written something over here. I have written something and all of you were able to say, okay, this is high. And how did you know this, what I have written was high? Because all your childhood you must have learned, okay, head, this is H, this is I, so this is high. And you have seen, you have kept on seeing some dogs and you have seen some cats and they have taught you, okay, these are dogs and these are cats, and then you understood, okay, this so anytime I get a new image of a cat, so you can say that, okay, it's a cat and it's a dog, but nobody actually tried to teach you again and again. Like at this age nobody comes and tries to teach us, okay, this is a cat or this is a dog. So any problem which human can solve with ease is an artificial intelligence problem. Beautiful understanding of this. Now, what is the machine learning problem then? If you can see over here, I have some crazy data. So, my screen is covering it. But then I have crazy different fields mentioning about my loan data. Over here, if I give you all these fields, and right now, if I tell you, can you, this is a given data for one person, suppose. Can you tell me if I have to give this person loan or not? With the data which I'm having regarding that person, should I give this person loan? Yes or no? Can you tell me? Just let me know. If this person should be getting loan or no. Sorry, did I see it late? Or yes, he should be getting loan? No, he shouldn't be getting. No, just kidding. So if we have this kind of a data where we just cannot see it, yeah, we have to see the history and we need to evaluate. We cannot just see the data. We don't even know what the fields are. We don't know the history of it. We have to compare with the rest of the people and we have to come up with an understanding. So this is the place where your machine has to learn the things, you know machine learning. Machine has to learn. Artificial intelligence, we can do it, but we want the machine to understand. I hope you guys got an understanding of what artificial intelligence and machine learning means. Now you can actually tell it to people. Okay, now I just ask me the difference. I can tell you what artificial intelligence problem is and what a machine learning problem is. So any problem for which you need people with domain expertise, people with idea of algorithms, and you have to have lots of data, you have to have models and lots of data, and then you need to create some mathematics behind it, then that's a machine learning problem. But then if you can solve it by yourself, by just seeing it because you have learned through your normal human life, and but you want a machine to do the same thing for you, that will become your artificial intelligence problem. Any doubts at this particular point? Please let me know. Okay, great. Now let's go to the next slide. Now, what is machine learning? Okay, we have seen what artificial intelligence and understood there are two different categories. Now we'll
Can
go.
I request Sneha, if
Yeah.
you could right click on Galaxy J7 and mute Galaxy J7? Since you're the host, you'll be able to right click and mute Galaxy J7. Okay, Galaxy J7 is muted. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so now we have understood what machine learning and what artificial intelligence is. Now let's see what are the different types of problems which are there in machine learning. Okay, if you any of you must have already googled what data science is, and most of you must have come up with two different terms, like reinforcement. Not maybe many of you would have come up with, but supervised and unsupervised learning, these are the two very common terms which you will be coming across if you haven't come across before. Uh, but if you have actually seen that there machine learning will always be categorized into different types of learning of how the machine wants to learn. The problems are categorized into different types. One is the supervised learning, and the other is the unsupervised and the reinforcement learning. And sometimes you will come across semi supervised learning, but it's okay for now. We don't need to get into that. Let's understand these basic terminologies of supervised, unsupervised, and then reinforcement, and that will give us a outline idea of what how the problems are categorized or divided. So if you see, first let's start with the supervised learning. In supervised learning, again, it is divided into regression and classification. Now, leaving these terms to the side, how do I understand as a person what supervised is and what unsupervised is? Just if we are able to understand this particular graph, I think we will be able to explain to anyone what supervised and unsupervised is. I have some problem and I plot the data on my graph, any kind of data. For example, I have house loan data. Sorry, there's some problem with my system. Then suppose I have been plotting any graph with a price versus the square feet of that uh, area. And now I'll have some data points on the graph. Okay, I'm sorry for I'm not able to get my pen, so I'm just not able to draw it. But then, okay, let's see it in this way. I have some data and I'm able to plot the data on a graph. Okay, now I want to know if it's a x or a, so if it's a cross or a zero. For that, if I draw a boundary line for these x's and zeros, you can see. Okay, great. Okay, so let our problem be finding out if it is an x or a zero. Simple problem. Now I start plotting. Okay, I get all my zeros at this particular place, and then I get all my x's at this particular place. At this point, I want to understand if a new x comes in. Okay, if a new x comes in or a new zero comes in, at what particular place I could expect the x or a zero. Or if I'm telling if there is a new point over here, should I understand if this particular point belongs to 0 or should I belong to x? So for the same thing, we try to draw a line. So we try to draw a clear line where it says, okay, all the points which are right to the right of my line should belong to the category X, and all the points which belong to the left side of my line should belong to 0. So any new point which comes in, I'll be taking this boundary as my base, and then I'll categorize it as a x or a 0. So this is where you have a defined boundary for classifying it to be a x or a 0. Now at this particular place, when I see in this graph, my understanding is I have different zeros placed at different places. They are placed at different places. I'll give you example. Right now I'm just showing it graphically, but when I actually get into the examples, you'll have more clear idea of what I'm actually talking about. Okay, so here I have zeros at different places, and I have started drawing boundary against that particular area. So I am defining a area for these particular 4 zeros over here, and again defining another area for this particular 4 zeros, and the third area for this particular 4 zeros. Here your main understanding would be, if a new point comes in, I want to understand it belongs to which cluster. So I have to understand it belongs to which cluster. Oh, I'm making it very, like, very mathematical and all. But let's understand with real-time examples what I'm actually trying to speak. Okay. Suppose, like we have seen earlier, we have okay. Let me just check. Uh, yeah. So I've been speaking. We had some loan data. Okay. And I have to understand from the loan data if I have to give the person loan or not. So like we have rightly understood before that we actually check the history, we actually check the other records, and prior to the understanding of all the data, we see that, okay, if a new record comes in with some certain values, we will actually say, okay, we can, if that particular person is lying at some particular point, we can say, okay, we can give this person a loan, yes, because everybody falling towards the category below the line, we understand, okay, that person belongs to one category, so let's say it as yes. So we need to give that person a loan. And if the person is falling into some other place outside the right side of the boundary line, we say no, according to our previous data, we understand that we shouldn't give him a loan. This is the problem of which we were trying to solve. Now if you want to understand how many males or females are there in the data which we have, and if a new person comes and we have a date with a different data, with with the new data, not different data, with the new data, and if I want to understand if this person is a male or a female, so I'll be clustering them into one of the groups of seeing that the entire previous data was present over here. These are the characteristics of which all the male participants were, and then these were the characteristics of all the female participants. And with any new data which comes in, how we are going to place it will be understanding that would be a clustering problem, which is the unsupervised problem. If for some of you, even though it is, if it's still not clear, don't worry. This is some concept which we'll be seeing in very depth. Okay, over here you'll clearly understand that supervised has something called a label. Okay, many people term it in different ways, but if we'll have an output defined for it, simple understanding, and we don't know the output of it, that is unsupervised. You know the previous outputs and you have a label for it, that is supervised. You don't have an output, you don't know which label it belongs to, but you still have to put it into one of the clusters, and that will be your unsupervised learning.
And if I can add there, it's a great, example that you gave, Sneha. And Animesh, think of it as this way, that in unsupervised learning, the computer itself tries to identify, the output. In this case, in the chart, Sneha, if I'm correct, the computer or the algorithm itself figures out the clusters for the different data sets. Right, Sneha, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Hmm.
Yes, Ahmed. So we actually, the new data which comes in, we actually try to place it into a cluster. We
Correct.
don't actually try
And
to divide it into yes or no or kind of questions.
correct, correct. And it's not we who are doing it, it's the algorithm or the computer that does it, and that is unsupervised learning. Okay. And if we
Yep.
train it, we give it some examples and we say, okay, you need to learn from these examples we're giving you, and the computer then learns from those examples. That is supervised learning. And there's a concept which you will learn in the course, which is called the training data set and the test data set. Okay, guys. In the
Yep.
training data set, we give the computer some labels, some actual outputs that are desired, simple input output. Okay, for this kind of input, we want this kind of output. So the computer learns from that and then tries to do likewise for the new data that we give it, which is called the test data set. It's kind of like a test that we're giving the algorithm to see if it can generate the same output, which we have given it in the examples. And that is, supervised learning. Now, Animesh is asking, is it a kind of predictive or forecasting kind of method? See, when you predict, what you're trying to do is find the reason why things are the way they are and forecast into the future. Now, in that, you can do both supervised as well as unsupervised. Both are possible, Animesh. Okay. And Lenovo says, true, Amit. Thank you so much, Lenovo. I forgot your name, but thank you so much. I think it's Pooja, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Sneha, let's go ahead. Now, just in the interest of time, Sneha,
Okay.
we are at 12:12, and
Okay.
we needed to just take a stock of time to make sure that we don't have too many slides and we can give a nice little demo. I think we're
Yeah.
pretty close,
We're
but yes,
almost
I
done.
think we can expedite and then move towards the demo.
Sure,
Yeah.
Amit.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is the same flow chart, little elaborated. This is just for like the next 2-3 slides which are there are just for an outlook or outline idea of what are all the components which are present inside machine learning and data science. Uh, so this is a cheat sheet. So like we have seen, okay, this is a supervised learning and then there's unsupervised. Now under supervised, we have so many algorithms and under unsupervised, we have so many algorithms. Now, how do we decide on which algorithm we need to use or depending upon our input data, depending upon all the values which we are having and the output which we would require. So we have different ways of categorizing it. So this is a direct cheat sheet which Azure provides us. I just placed it again for your idea to have everything at one place. And this is a cheat sheet which scikit-learn provides. And what scikit-learn is, how to do it, all this later. But for now, just understand these are the different ways which they give a clear idea, like outline idea. It's not compulsory that we need to follow these religiously, but then it'll give us a good start of how we can actually proceed with solving our problems and what way we could go and render one problem with which algorithm. So these are just the cheat sheets which are available for everyone, and you can actually find them online also. Now, what the basic product life cycle of a machine learning product would be. So let me tell you, once we get the data, we have to clean it. Of course, we need to prepare it. There'll be lots of junk. There'll be some missing values, and there'll be some unnecessary fields like address field. Sometimes you don't need much full address written over it, or you would only want to work on the pin code, so you won't want to remove the rest of the thing. So example I am just giving. So you will have to clean lots of data and you have to actually prepare it before you train your model. So ideally, any data science project the maximum amount of time which it consumes at this particular point, cleaning and preparing the data. Now once you have a cleaned and prepared data, then you start training the model. You what what do you mean by training, what is test data? We'll see that in the demo. And then for now, just understand, we'll have to train the model. There the model is taking in the input and it is trying to say, okay, this kind of data you have given to me, and this is the output you're trying to expect. And post that, we actually have some test data. We using the test data, we try to predict the results. Okay, if on the test data, how good our output is coming, so that will give us a good starting point of understanding our accuracy of the model which we have built. And then last point would be how do we improve the accuracy of our model, or how do we improve all the steps. It could be from preparing the data to training it, and finally getting the good accuracy. At many points we could, how we could improve our model. And of course the last point would be how we will be deploying it. So like in the starting I was mentioning it to you, if it's not compulsory every time that big data and machine learning have to go on hand in hand. There are so many machine learning models which are built, which don't need terabytes or petabytes of data. They could actually suffice with gigabytes of data. And there are many cloud platforms which allow you to push your infrastructure to that particular point and start running and using it. So not necessary every application should be in line with your big data applications. So if you see applications working with Facebook, LinkedIn, or your book my show and all these, so they have huge amounts of data. So in that particular scenario, any implementation you want to do, and you cannot just train your model on simple gigabytes of data, you will have to go to terabytes and petabytes, and you want to have like as much as RAM possible. So that particular place, you will have to keep your data science project in line with your big data components. Mainly with if you're going with open source, you'll have to go with Spark. Or if you have there are many other options, like you can, if you have to go with Anaconda, you can actually take an enterprise cost of it, and if your company is agreeing to the cost of it, you can actually go for Anaconda. So you'll have different options while you're deploying the models. And you'll have to actually take care of it's a offline or a batch model. Sometimes you want the data to immediately respond to it, so you'll keep it as an online. And sometimes you want some 1 week data to be stored, and then get the model will be trained in batch way, so that it'll be your batch models. So there will be different categories of models and different scenarios where you will actually be building it. And so this is just to continue with the question of big data and ML. They are inseparable in some scenarios, but they can be leveraged separately also in many scenarios. That is just one point I just wanted to make you clear over here. Okay, before ending or before the final conclusion, let's see a small demo uh, of actually how we can build and train a data science model, uh, machine learning algorithm using Python. So you will get a outline idea of how complex what things you're going to learn, and then you'll be surprised that, oh, actually just build it with such a ease, because everything is inbuilt and everything is ready to use. All we need to do is just start implementing things.
So how
I think
many of you guys and girls, Hema, Bhargav, Gyaneshwar, Karthik, how many of you are programming for the first time, or first time in Python? Please mention it in the chat box and hang around because you love this demo. We'll do it quickly. So Akash Lopa, first time, Patange, Vishal Patange, first time. Okay, how many of you have done a little bit before? Okay, some people say first time but attended some course. And okay. See, we'll go through this quickly in the interest of time, but don't worry. In the course, we'll be covering the whole thing because we now have around 11 more minutes before we end up. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, over
just
to you. Yeah.
2-3 minutes. I'll try to finish the demo. It's very simple.
No, take your time. Take your time. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so here I'm having a data, the housing data. So what my aim is, I want to predict the price of the data. given some inputs. Uh, okay. So I am having some features over here like the average area income, so the income of the residents in the city, and the average area house, number of rooms, number of bedrooms, area population, and I am having these as my inputs. I have these all values present with me, and I want to understand the price of the house. This will be my output. So what my machine learning algorithm will be looking like, I am having some data, okay, and I know the price of it, whatever happened before. My main aim is like if I get a new set of data for which the price is unknown, how accurately I am able to predict this price. So that is the main aim of building a machine learning model. I'm sure I don't think any of you would be having any doubt at this particular point. So going one step ahead, so what for building a machine learning model, what we need to do is, so we have we have to divide our data, whatever the entire data we have, into a train data and your test data. So most of the times we'll be taking 70% of the data as your train data and 30% as your test data. We'll just split it randomly. We'll just split our input data randomly into 70 and 30%. Why are we doing the split? So that we want to understand after we build our model on how is it performing on our test data. So that's when we'll actually get a clear understanding of how our model is performing on the given data. So before we actually send it for the users to use it, we also want to know how it's performing. So that's the reason we actually split the data. Okay. So this platform is Jupyter platform. So it's you'll once we start developing it, you'll understand at what point you have to go for Jupyter or what point you have to go for some ID, etc. For now, I'm using Jupyter, and we have done this
So
import of.
Navneet had a quick question. He's saying, is it supervised that we're showing? Navneet had that question.
You will answer it in the end. Uh, Whoever asked it, so I'm sorry I didn't get the name, but from the previous understanding of what you learned, let's try to see what problem this is also. Okay, so just simple import statements I'm doing it, nothing different here, and I'm just reading my file. I have my housing data and I'm just reading it. For now, just understand that I read the data and I'm just printing out the top 5 rows. So this is how my data is looking like. So this is how my data is looking like. I have the like these fields and then the data. This is all dummy data, so my results are going to be anyways good. So but then this is all made up data. Just see how I'm having some set of data, and then I have some other operations which can be done like information. It gives me how many values are there and what are the types of it, all the different information of each of the fields. And then I have a describe method which gives me the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum. Uh, Not to worry, this is like how do you understand a simple data. Now we'll get into how we are going to train our model. Okay, at this particular point, who asked the question? I'm sorry. Navneet, right? Okay. So Navneet, we understood main difference between supervised and unsupervised is supervised has a predefined label. Unsupervised doesn't have. So over here, what is our final aim to do is we want the price. We want the price of our house. So it means we have a label on which we need to understand. So you tell me now, is this a supervised or an unsupervised problem? Great. It is a supervised problem. Why? Because we know that we need the output we are looking for is price. So we need to print the price of our house. So that is the label which we are having. We are not clustering our data. We are not placing all the different types of houses or different types of localities in which houses are present. That is not our aim. Our aim is not clustering the data. Our aim is predicting one value out of the data. And over here in our scenario, it is the price. Okay, so now I'm just taking X and Y. What is X? Simple. All the fields which are there, all the values which I'm having, I'm just putting into X. Now what is Y? The output which I require, I'm just putting it into Y. I don't think any of you must be having any doubts over here. Now I'm having my X and I'm having my Y. X has all the input values and Y is the value which I need to print, which I need to understand on, or for the new data which is coming, which is the label column. Like I said, we need to do a split of the data between the training and the between the train and for training and then the test, so that we can actually predict our results before. Now I'm using Jupyter platform, where this is Jupyter notebook. I got it from Anaconda. Now Anaconda has a tie-up with sklearn. There are many different ways you can do it, but sklearn is one of the most famous popular ones for less amounts of data, like unlike LinkedIn, Facebook, and etc., where you actually go for Spark kind of applications. For here, you can actually go for sklearn and start building your model. So first thing we would do is we have some families present in sklearn from which we would try to import some
Hey
modules.
guys, just a second, Sneha.
Yeah.
So, guys, we had the webinar till 12:30, okay, and we have 3 minutes left. So I know some of you had to go also. In case you are going at 12:30, which was the correct time for the webinar, please do fill the feedback form. Those who fill the feedback form, and I'm just sending the feedback form to you now for the webinar, please mention your correct mobile number and email. We do not spam you. We respect your privacy. And even if we share emails, there are unsubscribe buttons. And you will all get the presentation. You will get the recording of the webinar. Everything will be shared with you. And we'll be sharing it today evening itself with all of you to refer. And Sneha, we may want to just expedite a bit, and because I have a few things to share with people, important things at the end of the webinar
Okay.
regarding the
Yeah.
discount that we are offering to all the people who have joined today's webinar. Yeah.
Sure, Amit. I think I'll just go quickly. So this is a test split which we'll be doing directly. We'll just import it, and then we can actually get our values inside the X train, X test, and Y train and Y test. X the inputs and Y the output. The split will be happening, and post that we'll try to create and train the model. If you see over here, the creation and training the model is just 2 steps. Okay, so from sklearn, I'm going into the linear model family, and I want to import linear regression. That's what I want to implement here. And I'll just initialize linear regression into a variable lm, and then I'm just fitting the data. So I'll do my fitting of the data on my train data, not the test data. So I have my train data, and I'll be fitting the model with my train data. Now I have the train data. My data is set. I'm just at this particular point. My training has been done. My linear regression, my model is ready. Okay, as simple as that. In 2 steps, my model is ready. Now, after the model is ready, we have to actually see our evaluation, how our model is given the outputs. So, so these are some values which our model has given. So in-depth understanding, we can go later of what these numbers actually mean. Okay, so these are the coefficients which we have received from all the previous data which we have given of the model. But then we'll see how our model has performed. So for checking the performance of the model, like I have mentioned to you before, we'll actually checking it on the test data. So here again, how to check that? Simple. Again, just one line. I'm just going for predictions. My LM is the model which I have created earlier, and I'm just going to predict using the predict on the test data. Over here, my predictions on the model, I'm just using predict on the test data. And this is a simple scatter plot which I have drawn so to understand how my data is present. And if you can see over here that my data is like properly placed, and on the y test my predictions are almost near the line which I've drawn. Okay, so you guys not must not be understanding of what it is, but if you've seen here, my predictions are quite good, and you can actually start using this model. So this is basically how easy. I just wanted to at this particular point show you how easy it is for us to build up a
One
model and
thing
actually.
we can show, Sneha, is if you just draw a line through the model, they will all see what they have studied in school, right? We've all studied y is equal to mx plus c.
Right.
And,
Actually wanted to tell that, but we were like during the
yeah,
lack of time, I didn't say
no,
it.
no, no problem. See, you guys can see this line. This is important, guys. All of you guys and girls, all right. This is called the line of best fit, and this is
Hmm.
something you all know. You know y is equal to mx plus c from your school days, right? Please say yes in the chat box if you remember y is equal to mx plus c. Avinash, Gyaneshwar, right? See, we have got that equation, and now Sneha has predicted. Using that equation, you can predict the price of the room, isn't it? Yeah. Please go ahead, Sneha. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's as much it. I just wanted to show them the how we actually import the modules, and how easy it is to predict the predictions from the model. I think I'm pretty much done here, Amit.
Wonderful,
Anybody?
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's all say thanks to Sneha for that lovely demo. I hope you enjoyed the demo, right? So, okay, that's nice, says Animesh. Yes, thanks, Sneha. Okay, we really appreciate it, Sneha. And what I'll do is quickly now, it's time for you all to get your recordings and your presentation. So, I'll just reclaim the host. Couple of things. All the people who have joined today's webinar, right? We deeply appreciate your joining the webinar, and as you can see, we have a highly detailed course coming up, right, in Python, and you will end this course with a lot of strengths in machine learning and with Python. We're starting the course on Sunday, the 4th of March. Every Saturday, Sunday, you will have classes, at the same time that you had the class today, and you will become at the end of it, if not expert level, definitely intermediate to expert level in machine learning. And as you can see, all of these detailed topics that Sneha talked about today, we are covering all of these detailed topics. Let me just share my desktop and you can see it here, right? So all of these topics will be covered, and we are also covering TensorFlow in this course. Some of you asked whether we are covering TensorFlow. Yes, we are covering TensorFlow. Okay, and you can see the course curriculum here as well. We will share it with you, but you can see it right here, right? All of the details that you can see here. And you will also get a capstone project. You can choose whether you want it in banking related data or HR related data. You can choose. And we have a lot of projects. We even have a healthcare data on diabetes. So we'll give you a capstone project that will be 10 hours of work. You don't need to be an engineer to join this program. Please do not get that into your head. There are many people in Python who are pharmacy, English, and commerce graduates, nothing to do with engineering. The knowledge of domains that you have will be an advantage, but we are going to cover it in this program as well. So if you have some domain knowledge in any company, that's an advantage. Necessary tools are Python. You will also learn Tableau, right? In this case, we will not do Power BI for this program. This program will be in Tableau because Tableau is integrated beautifully with Python, and it's called TabPy. So I will be covering Tableau myself, and I'll show you a Tableau dashboard. To those of you who have time, hang around. I'll show you a Tableau dashboard. Others, no problem. We'll take your feedback. Every class will be 100% recorded. Okay. So you'll get each and every class recording And as you can see, in terms of some people want resume and placement assistance and certification. So you would have noticed on Quora.com, if you look at the feedback, and this here is our Facebook page, but just, take time and go through the reviews on our Facebook page. And these are our learners across the world, and they've rated us 4.9 out of 5, right? I'm sharing this with you. If you like today's webinar and you really enjoyed and you learned something, please rate us 5 on 5 and share some comments at least along with that on what you enjoyed in the webinar. And you can see actual feedback from people who have attended the classes like Vajinder and people who have attended our webinars. It's all available here, right? And you will also see on Quora.com that a lot of people came to us and they're actually now working in data science. They either moved inside their own company into data science. So you can just search for Equiskill on Quora.com, and you'll see, even in terms of some people wanted a job and they got lots of interviews. They got a job. You can see these feedbacks here. He's a data scientist, Arumugam, right? And on Quora.com, again, if you just type Equiskill, you will also see other questions, here, how do I become a data analyst at Equiskill? And you will see our learners like Anjani, who's working now in engaged marketing in CRM analytics, Sandeep, our learner who's working in Cognizant now. Parth got placed in eBay, and we have Deepak. We have Mohit Agarwal from XLRI. A lot of feedbacks, have been shared. Please do go through those, and you will, enjoy. Now we also have a Facebook group where we share a lot of jobs and opportunities. Okay. So we have one more webinar coming up this evening, by the way. So if you are interested in the Analytics Accelerator certification, there is another webinar coming up in the evening. I'll just show you that one. You can register for that too. And in that we will be covering R, for those who are interested in R and W, right? So here's the webinar, yeah, just to share the link with you. And that's also, some people are interested in that. So Animesh, I've just shared. If you go to this link, right, equiskill.com/events, you'll keep seeing a lot of very, very interesting events coming up there. My request is there's a very nice Facebook group that we have. Okay, just give me a second. I'll ask Siddharth to share that Facebook group with you all. See, on that group, we have many opportunities, right, which we share in the analytics world. We share knowledge. It's more a Facebook group for all of us to interact and, stay in touch. Right? So I would request you to also join that particular Facebook group. I would say that Python alone is enough. For sure, when you look at Python versus R, right, and why I think Python is a great choice. If you search the site KD Nuggets, right, you will see the slight tectonic shift that has been happening, in the year 2017. So Sid, can you please share the Facebook link for the group? I'm asking Siddharth to share the Facebook link for the group on the chat box. Meanwhile, I'll show you something here. See guys, why we think Python is a good choice, right? Have a look at this. See, KD Nuggets, what they found is that in 2016, 34% of the market was on Python. And as you can see here, 42% of the market was on R, right? And this was analytics, data science, and machine learning. Small shift has happened for sure, right? The small shift is that in 2017, can all of you see what is the percentage of Python? Can all of you see this? Please say yes in the chat box if you can. Okay. So it doesn't mean that, you all go for Python, okay? But there's a reason why the world is trending a little bit towards Python. So you can be aware of that. If I were you, right, as a data scientist, I would never think, is it Python or R? I would pick up one course. For example, if I know now that Python is trending in the market, I would learn Python, formally online through a certification and take a proper certification in Python. And I would also pick up a little bit of R, right, myself. So, I can always say that, yes, I'm certified in Python, but I also know a little bit of R as well, right? And if you think of it the other way around, some people may think I'll get certified in R and I'll learn a little bit of Python, myself, right? So I hope this helps you. I'll share this link with you as well. And all the links that we're sharing, right, we will, share with you in the webinar. There we go. Here's the link. And some of you requested the Facebook group. Now, only one request. If you enjoyed the webinar, please do share your feedback with us and on Facebook as well. I have shared the feedback form. Those of you who have filled the feedback form, please say done in the chat box so we know. Otherwise, you'll miss out on your recording and your presentation. So, okay, a lot of you are saying done. Fantastic. And again, really want to thank all of you for having joined the webinar today. Some of you requested for the Facebook group where we share job opportunities. This is the Facebook group, which I've just shared with all of you now, where you see all of the talks, discussions, and job opportunities. And some of you requested for the feedback form. So I'll just find the feedback form for you as well. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So please do fill this feedback form so you get your presentation recording. So Akash Lopa has a question. Let me just unmute Akash for a second here. Yes, Akash, I've unmuted you. So Akash, I think your question is the course online, right?
Yes, is it completely online is my question.
Yes, so we are doing it 100% online on Zoom video conferencing. Okay.
Yeah.
And we are based out of Whitefield in Bangalore. But many of our learners, actually sometimes come here and they meet us, they come with their doubts, they come for their resumes, and they come and meet me personally. So you're all most welcome to our office. And in case on any particular day, you want to come and attend the class, sit with me here and attend the class is fine. But just for information, we're all based out of different cities. Sneha is in Hyderabad, I'm in Bangalore, but you're all welcome to Bangalore office any day that you want to attend with us in our office. We have no problem.
Live one-to-one, not sorry, one-to-one, but it's live sessions which will be there for the class.
Yes, we don't have recordings. These are all live sessions like the one you attended today. You're most welcome to chat. You're most welcome to unmute yourself and talk to us. In fact, we can even get you to become the host and we can share your screen if you're stuck, and we can help you out with debugging after the class. Naturally not during the class because it interrupts the flow, but very often before the class and after the class, people come and they ask their doubts, they share their screen with us also. Really interactive, right? And I hope you felt that today, that we're trying to make sure everybody sort of gets to interact with us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we do help with job opportunities in many different places. Whenever we hear about roles, we share it with our learners. And I think when you read our feedbacks, you will see that we have helped learners in Australia as well. So just to share with you, one of our learners over here is in Australia, and we have learners in Manchester, Dubai, Australia. And just to share one here, we have a learner, a good learner in Australia. I think he joined us, for 2 courses, and he's now joined Equifax in Australia, Nikhil personally. So, he's joined them after doing his certification from equiskill.com. So obviously we help people across the world wherever we have opportunities. I have many learners in Australia that I'm helping out. Animesh, the duration of the course is 2 months. So you will be done in 2 months, and you will be an expert level in Python, and you will be intermediate level in Tableau integration with Python as well. So I hope all of you are aware that there's an integration of Tableau and Python called TabPy. So after you do all of these wonderful visualizations, you need to use something called TabPy in order to actually present your visualizations. You can do it using Python also, and you can also use Python, TabPy as well, right? Fees for the course is 21,900, but all of you will get a discount, right? So those who have joined today, if you fill the feedback form, we will be sharing a discounted link for just the fact that you joined our class, our webinar, as a gesture of appreciation. You will get a discount code, and in case you need EMIs, then we have EMIs as well, right? Yes. So how many hours is the course? Is one more, so 42 hours. So it's 14 classes of Python, and there will be 2 classes on advanced Tableau as well. So 14 plus 2, 16 classes, 16 into 3, 48 hours. Okay, is that clear to everyone? Right. Okay, so that's great. Have all of you filled the feedback form? Because that's how you'll get the video and the recording for today's class. Anyone who missed filling the feedback form? It's Saturdays and Sundays. All of the classes are for working professionals. So I had a question from VT saying, is it weekdays or weekends? So it is Saturdays and Sundays, because all the people who join this course, they are working professionals. So they join on Saturday and Sunday. Our website is all targeted towards, working professionals who want to upskill themselves for the new world that is approaching. And as you know, big data is already dead and it's all ML and AI, right? Right. So typically it's around 3 hours. Classes around 3 hours on Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes it can be 2 hours also. So between 2 and 3 hours, right, on Saturdays, Sundays. And if you miss a class, the class is 100% recorded. Just like today's session, it is recorded. And the other thing is you get a flexi pass. Flexi pass means you're also welcome to join the next batch in case you miss a class. Just in case you have some doubts, you can always join the next batch for that particular class. Yeah, and the classes are 100% recorded. Okay, I think I've already answered the question. There's someone called VT. First of all, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, VT. All I see is your name is VT. So we've already answered the question, that it's a live online class. And those who wish to come and meet us at our institute in Bangalore, you are also welcome. But the class is held on Zoom video conferencing. Even our instructors join on Zoom video conferencing from across the world. Okay. Okay. All right, great. I'll also give you a quick Tableau demo of 5 minutes if you guys are interested. You can let me know. If you say yes, you get a demo. And those who are done, you want to stop here at Python, you can stop. And if you have 5 minutes, hang around. So time for my Tableau demo. See, guys, you have to understand, why visualization. A lot of people have a misconception around data visualization. And I want to clear that misconception today. See, data visualization is not about just presenting, your insight. Data visualization is also about analyzing and understanding data. The most important thing you want to understand is there are two facets of data, okay? And those two facets of data are data exploration and data presentation. And these are very, very different things, okay? If you confuse this, you'll always think that visual analytics is all about presentation. But no, it's not just about presentation. It's also about exploration. And what do I mean by that? See, you'll find out that there's a reason why the top two tools in the world, as on day to day, in the BI industry, they are Tableau and Power BI. Can you hear me? Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay. I think just for a second, my mouse was misbehaving. Yeah. So when you look at it, Gartner has rated these tools #1 in the world for a particular reason, right? And what is that reason? The reason is these tools allow you to explore your data as well as to, present your data. Both of the things you can do with these tools, right? And that's where the strength is. When you combine Tableau and Python, you reach a point where you can do both exploration and presentation of your data. Okay. Now, can all of you see my screen here? This is Tableau that we have going here. See, what we're doing is, and please say yes in the chat box if you can see my screen. We're actually exploring this particular data set in Tableau. Okay, and there are many views that we are creating, not to present the data, but really to explore the data. And that is what Tableau is about. So these views that you see that we are creating in Tableau are all about, exploration and presentation. Now, for some reason, my Tableau has just hung up. Okay. So it looks like we may have to defer this particular demo. I had something very interesting lined up, but looks like Tableau is, hung up right now. Okay. Just a second, please. Right. So, folks, I think we'll have to wrap it up right now. We seem to be having a small challenge with the computer, and I think in the interest of time, what I will request is those of you who want to see the Tableau demo, we have it coming up in the evening. So, if you're free at 7:30 p.m. today, you can join up for the Tableau demo on the website. And Vishal says thank you so much, Sneha and Amit, for the demo. Rajesh says sure. So, is it okay if we can, get you guys to join the evening webinar? And I've already shared the link, yeah, with all of you. So what you need to do is you need to go to equiskill.com. Rajesh is already registered. Okay. Okay. equiskill.com/events. And just a second. Yeah, there you go. And you need to talk about R, and we'll talk about Tableau in the session, right? Okay. And you can get the recordings. If you have any request, what you need to do is write to contact@equiskill.com, and we will address your request. And Navneet says thank you so much for the knowledge shared. Navneet, absolutely our pleasure. I think our only request is, those of you who thought you liked our effort today to share our learnings with you, my request is if you could please rate us on Facebook page for Equiskill, and please rate us. That would be a very, very welcome thing from your side. And I've shared the link for the Facebook page, so probably you can just go there and share your kind feedback. Okay. All right. Great. So thanks everyone for joining the session. We're going to close out now, and we will see you in the course. I think Tableau and Python will be a very, very exciting course. So see you all there. Yeah. Goodbye. Bye, Sarath. Bye, Navneet.